So it is the 1st of April, YouTubers, and we've got Team 2 coming up. And the time is 11:20 on this fine Saturday morning. And we've got Mihai leading the charge for Team 2. Okay, Mihai, I will start the timer as soon as I hear your voice. Good luck, everybody.
Hi, guys. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Mihai Prejma. Physically, I'm the site manager for this project. This project is on this project, we're going to demolish a 2-story brick building. Our client is SMSTS Team 2, as we all know. We are the principal contractor. We call 2M3G Limited. We are a demolition specialist company, so we like to believe we know what we do. And you awarding us this contract probably says all. Our site team is composed from myself as a site manager, Marta, which is a senior supervisor on the contract and responsible with the environment as well. George with a H, which is a senior supervisor as well, and he is responsible with the emergency procedure. George without the H, which is a senior supervisor as well, and he is responsible with emergency procedure and accident reporting as well. And Gulab, which is a senior supervisor as well on site, and he is responsible managing the traffic management around the site and the procedures. Our principal designer who's going to realize the client and us, between client and us, is Tony Roy. Hello. And the location of the brownfield of the site is actually the brownfield site on the Old Arch Road in Bramley. Marta, if I could have the next slide, please. This is the site location of the map. Our scope of works will be to remove the brownfield redundant factory building. It's a 1950 brick built building. So we believe we're going to have loads of problem in finding asbestos. We know that there is a contaminated soil, but we're going to talk in more details on the next few slides. Marta, would you please? We go to the project description. Like I said earlier, when needed, we could put back the plan on the screen. We demolish a 2-story building. It's a brick built, it's a 1950 made, is redundant at the moment. We don't know what was going into it, so we treat everything as caution as we can. Apart from that, we have a hedge which is quite old. It's 45 years old, and on the northeast of the site, which we have to remove in order to implement the entrance. Underneath the factory building, by the test and by the assessment, we found that the soil, it is contaminated. So we're going to treat that soil. Is going to be excavated, taken by the contractor, by a specialist haulage company to a recycle facility where will be decontaminated and do the legal procedure with them. Apart from that, we have another big issue on site. We all know that Japanese knotweed is a very invasive plant. This will have to remove it. We choose to do it by a specialist contractor as well, because that will involve the big excavation. We're going to be decontaminating and sterilizing the soil. So a company who does that on a daily basis will be most valued and is going to be the best for the task. Marta, can I have the next slide, please? So we start with the pre-construction information, which the reason for the meeting today. And like we all know, every entity on this business, we have some duties. So you as a client, you provide us already the existing condition survey, which we thank you very much. You provide us the statutory drawings, again, thank you very much. And hopefully, with the help of Tony, you apply already for the F10 notification to HSE. As from what we believe, the project will last longer than 30 days. Anyway, we will have more than 20 workers on site almost every day, and the project definitely will exceed the 500 work days per total. Marta, would you please as a principal designer, but Tony is more than aware about it for all the discussion we had previously. And he did already part of it. Some of them is still outstanding, but definitely we're going to get it by the end of the week. He provided us the pre-construction risk assessment and method statement. We use this pre-construction risk assessment and method statement to develop our risk assessments and method statement, and together with other measure implement to develop the safe system of works. Tony provided us the relevant information about the planning. He gave us the planning permission to demolish this building from which was issued by the local authority. He gave us information about management, monitoring, coordination of the project. We know who we deal with. We know who is the designer. We know the parties involved in the process. And he handed over the health and safety file. Hand over the initial health and safety file for the building to us. With the pre-site condition risk assessment, the health and method statements. This one will be tackled by us. We're going to fill up whatever required. Will be presented on the end to Tony. We're going to put everything what's missing in it. We'll hand it back to him, and that will be handed back to the client at the end of the project. Marta, would you please give me the next slide? Us as a principal contractor, we have to plan the demolition process, take into account all the risks presented there for the workers, for members of the publics, including for client employees. We have to consider all the risks likely to rise during the process and implement measures in place to diminish it or get rid of it totally. We have to provide supervision, information, and especially training if the people which we're going to use didn't have the training before. We have to manage all the activities on site and make sure, especially that preventive measures are put in. If that preventive measure won't clear the risk, we're going to put protective measure in place and ensure that everyone engaged in the project are competent. That's the key word, competent. We have to provide the right plant equipment and tools and ensure that everyone understands the risk and control measures. We have to monitor everything I will just explain to everyone, and we have to make sure we coordinate the works with all the other parties involved in the CDM coordination. Marta, can you please send me next slide? On this plan, I will get briefly through it because this plan will be brought back into your attention at a later stage when we're going to present the emergency procedure and others. But mainly, we are fixed to use as entrance, the entrance into the car park at Whole Touch Point, which Marta pointed at the moment. That will be the main point of access for us. Because our site is meant to create dust and create a bit of noise, we choose to put a 2.4 meter wooden hoarding around the perimeter of the site, where we're going to have sounds monitors, which is going to trigger the alarm in case the decibels are go over, and in case we need to put an exclusion zone or in case we need to provide hearing protection. The access to the site will be made to a gate. I put it with a blue line in there, but it's very fainted. That's the side gate. That side gate during working hours will be manned all the time. It's going to be a security. And because we are crossing a public path for the existing offices, we're going to have some banksmans in place to keep the vehicles separate from the pedestrians, to stop the flow when needed, to get access to the offices. And all that will be managed by Gulab and his teams of fire traffic marshals. Going forward, we implement a one-way system on site because that's the safest way, and we try to keep vehicle movement separate from the pedestrian movement. Vehicles entering the site will turn left. We're going to have a delivery loading and unloading area and transport vehicles waiting area, enough to cover for 3-4 trucks, because mainly we are thinking of moving the soils and the debris out from site. So definitely we need a waiting area. Beside that, we have the site personnel car park, because being some more people around it, we'll need some provisions for that. On the northeast side of the building, we couldn't go right to the side of the site because, like I said, on the northeast side, we have to remove the hedge. We have seated the site offices and and induction and meeting room. That will be tackled later on at the stage, but induction will take any time needed because our team of 5, each one of us could run an induction and present the same system of work. On the north side, we put the dry room in the canteen, and toilet and washing up facilities will be go through it by a colleague of mine later on, but we have male, female, and gender neutral and disabled on that. Further off on site, we have a kosh store with all legal requirements on it, like a drip tray and everything else, which is going to be locked and segregated from the access area. We have 6 fire points along the site, despite the outside the site, go spread it on site, which will contain a fire extinguisher and will contain the sand bucket. All this will be going in more details with my colleague George. Beside that, because there's going to be loads of spoil, we thought a washing up station for the trucks getting out from site will be really important. And that was Marta's idea because she's our environmental representative. And as well, we're going to have segregated skips for waste materials located over there. Will be metal, wood separately. The metal will be sold to a scrap company. And what we decide to do with the money obtained from that is to donate it to a local charity because this area is in need of any money we could spread. So that will go, we're going to enhance the social value for our company, but hopefully. Because we are accredited by CHARS, we are accredited by Construction Land, and we have loads of accreditation, we are thinking that actually the active site of the excavation needs to be exclusion zone. So we placed a row of barriers to exclude any other businesses from the access, and that's presented by Marta now. Don't know if I missed anything. Oh, yes, I did. The arrow shows our emergency routes anyway, which leads to assembly point in the main car park. With help of Tony and with help of you, we got the permission to get the assembly point at that point, despite that it's not our physical site. Marta, would you please send up the next slide? We're going to go to the welfare facility a bit more in detail, and for that, I will pass the word to my colleague Marta. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, we are going to talk about the location of the cabins. As you saw on the last slide, they are going to be on the located on the northeast of the site. We are setting up a site office, which is going to be the meeting room and the induction facility at the same time. We are going to have toilets and washing facilities set up. We will have 3 male toilets, 1 female, and 1 gender neutral toilet, which is going to be used as a disabled cabin as well. They will all have hot and cold running water and will be complete with washing basins. And we will also have 1 shower set up for the site. Yeah, we will have 1 canteen. This is to accommodate 20 or more people. It's going to have all the necessary appliances like microwave, fridge, freezer, and yeah, we will go into this later on. So yeah, and we are going to have a dry room set up. This is to accommodate 20 or more people. It will have lockers, and also is going to be heated. And we will have a kosh store separately. This is because we need to store some petrol and diesel on site for the plant and machinery. And also we are going to have a tool and material store. So storage requirement, yes, as I said, so we are going to have a kosh store just like on the picture. We will be using petrol and diesel. A cost store with a built-in drip tray is required. All those products will be covered under cost risk assessment. No other products apart from the ones covered by risk assessment will be allowed on site. The tool and material store, it's going to be sufficient to store all the requested materials, tools, personal protective equipment, and all other equipment required in the project. For site security, as we need to keep the site safe, the site will be segregated from the general public with a 2.4 meters high site hoarding. The access and egress will be through the main gate, as Mihai pointed out on the map. And it's going to be managed by security. Outside of working hours, the gate will be locked at all times and secured. A security contractor will be employed for outside of working hours. This is going to be a canine patrol with a dog. And all the signage will be displayed around the site perimeter for this. We are going to also have a CCTV in operation 24/7, and we are going to display signage about this on the site. For the emergency procedures, I'm going to pass this over to George to talk about our emergency arrangement.
Thank you, Marta. Hello, everyone. My name is George, and I will take you through our emergency procedure and safety system of work. But our emergency procedure team are George, Gulab, and myself, George. So first, let's talk about fire emergency plan. We have provisions to raise the alarm and contact emergency services at every fire station on site. We got 6 fire stations around the site, 1 fire assembly point located on the existing car park, thanks to Tony. In case of emergency, we have to follow the evacuation plan displayed on site, and as well, in case of emergency, we have to follow the instruction from the fire marshal, George, Gulab, or myself. We have notified the fire brigade and emergency services about access and ingress points on our site. And if you can move to next, Marta, please. Our accident plans. Provision to first aider, George, Gulab, and myself. Provision of the appointed person, Martin, Mihai. Provision of first aid kit sufficient for the number of people on site. Accident book. Access for emergency services vehicle. Emergency route must be kept clear at all times. And our emergency procedures arrangements services. So severe water, weather accidents, chemical burns, flood from the river, explosions, member of the public accessing the site, vulnerable persons, young persons, terrorism, mental health issue, drug and alcohol. And I would like to add to that list work is high, probably, because the building is very high. So our system of work, all workers on this site must be carried, all works on the site must be carried out as per risk assessment method statement presented at the induction. Safe system of work to be followed at all times. When in doubt, please stop and seek advice. Now I would like to pass you over to George to present you with the documents of control.
Hello,
George.
everyone. Thanks, George. My name is George Ruskin. I'm part of the management team. And I will start by presenting you with our site office display. Our office is going to contain the site register, a notice board, health and safety law poster, insurance certificates, fire and emergency plan, F10 notification, a program, a site diary, and a file with toolbox stocks. We also have a first aid kit box, enough for all people working on site, an accident book, induction forms, health and safety policy, construction phase plan, risk assessment, method statements, contract documents, project surveys, permits to work, training records, spare PPE for everyone to use, fire extinguishers. Next slide, please, Marta. As Marta explained to you, the site location for our welfare facilities, and now I will try to put some numbers in front of you. Our site office will have 5 desks with chairs for all the management team involved in this project, and 6 cupboards, one for every one of us, and one for the site documents. Our meeting room will be open every day from 8 to 10 for induction purposes, which is really important. And the rest of the time is going to be used as a training room and a meeting room. Our toilets and washing facilities will be, as Marta explained, located in the northeast area of site, and is going to be as follows: 3 for male use, 1 for female use, and 1 for gender neutral or disabled use. They will be completed with hot and cold running water, washing basin, and 1 shower. Also, our canteen gonna have 6 tables and chairs, accommodating more than 20 people. It will have kettles, water heaters, sink, microwave, waste bins, fridge, and freezer. We will also, on site, we will also have a dry room with lockers sufficient to accommodate 20 or more people. That dry room is going to be heated at all times. Cleaning and maintaining the welfare facilities will be carried out by agency workers following a safe system of work. All RAMs for this agency people have been already forwarded to you. And if anyone needs more details, we will be able to present it to you at the end of our meeting. I will now walk you through the Gulab. I'm going to pass it to Gulab. He was going to walk you through the site signage policy.
Thank you, Jules. The site signage. Our site have a health and safety policy, health and safety posters, employer public liability insurance, first aider, fire emergency evacuation, arrangement, safety prohibition, and a mandatory sign, traffic warning and direction signs. Next, please. And site signage too, we have a warning sign on the site, danger sign and do not to disturb, and the access sign, fire emergency signs, arrangement, and warning sign or communications, so warning sign or stops. Next, please. Yes, site rules. No access for the unauthorized person, and do not start work without an induction, and keep a tidy site always. Do not put yourself or other at the risk. Follow the safety sign and producers. Never work in unsafe area, report defect and near misses. Never tamper with equipment. Use designated pedestrian route at all time. Smoking only allowed in designated area. follow one-way system, do not reverse without a batsman, only 5 miles per hour, for our side speed limit on side. Yeah, the side rules. You are responsible for your own safety and the safety of the other. Do not use side welfare for drinking water. Wear PP when it's necessary for the job. Offensive or inappropriate language and provocative gestures are not allowed the side. No gambling, no threatening or violent behavior. No person shall include in fighting, horseplay, or particular jokes within the site of its perimeter. Toilet and washroom must be kept and clean and tidy, hygienic and safe after use. Refuse must not be allowed. Accumulated work area are to be kept tidy, and combustible material are to be removed on a regular basis and disposed of an appropriate manners. Headphones or mobile phone device are not be used on the site. Permission must be obtained from the site manager prior to any work on site. All site personnel for their own safety and for the safety of the other are requirement to the fully complete with their employer statement of safe working method. Site fire and emergency alarm equipment and systems are designed to protect life. Next, please. Permission and notification. I'm passing to Miyahi, please.
I would like to add for the previous slides because probably will be missed, but about the agency workers, we have a contract with the local agency placement, so we'll try to encourage the local employment. Going through the, Martha, go to the next slide, it'll be okay, thank you. On the permission and notification, we already, like what we said on the start, we got the permission to set up the fire assembly point in the car park, and we got the permission to use the car park entrance. Now we need an environmental permission to remove the substantial part of the 45 years old hedge. Probably we'll say this one will be transformed into chippings, and the chippings will be used for the landscaping of the area. Will be left on site after the construction to be used on the landscape area. We need the permit to dispose, or the company we're gonna employ will need the permit to dispose the asbestos. We made the ball rolling and get the permission to dispose the contaminated soil to the nearest treating facility. We opted for the nearest treatment facility because we don't want to increase the CO2 emissions. So the nearest one was quite fortunate to get one 3 miles away from our site. We will have planning permission for excavation work on site, followed by all the permits in place, like permit to disturb the ground, trial hole excavation. We'll seeking to obtain permission to connect the site facility to services. That will include water, electricity, PT, probably, if required. Because we believe, we hope not, but because we believe we may have to do works during weekend, we need to get the permission from the local authority. It's what is called the Section 6062 Noise Pollution at Work Act. And that will be permission to work out of hours or during weekends. And like we said on the start, we have the F10 notification, which is already done, wait to hear back from the HSE. As soon that will happen, probably Tony or you as a client, you're gonna let us know. We take mental health very seriously. And because of that, on this project, we have a dedicated mental health champion, which is George without the H. We expend quite big financial time, and we have a running contract with a consultant in mental health. We had very good results in the past on our past projects, but about that, George will talk more with you and will explain you what we're going to do to tackle this ongoing issue. George?
So we as a company take mental health problems very seriously. All our workers can benefit from free mental health education. Our first aid can enroll you in a mental health education program supplied by a third party. We identify an issue issues and work with the employers to resolve them. Support of all staff faced with mental health issues. So please feel free to contact any of our team if you've got any mental issues, and or if you think anybody on site could have some mental issues problem. So with this saying, I'd like to thank everyone for listening to our presentations, and hopefully we're going to have the time off the contract. Thank you, everyone.
Let's give it a round of applause as is traditional. Well done. Yes.
Well done.
Well done.
Right. Thank you. Hold on a minute. I'm just stop the timer. Oh, bang on 30 minutes. Wow.
And go on.
To the second, bang on 30 minutes.
Well, you said 30 minutes. You
Right.
We use the time right.
Yeah, we used it perfectly. Perfectly. You couldn't have been any more on the button than that. Okay, can I invite the first question then, please?
Yep, can I be the first? What about, do you have located the spillage kit on site, boys?
Well, we've got the cabin, and everyone, if you need to take any cosh materials on site, they're going to have to provide their own cosh spillage kit as per ramps.
And what about next to the machine? Where the parking overnight?
One machine parking overnight. It's not machine parking overnight. That the cosh storage is designed with the spillage kit.
So demolition.
George,
is
I believe
hand.
he is talking about refilling the machines and the drip tray. Those are available and they are part of the kit of the cost.
Oh yeah, they are there on the container. Yeah.
Thank you, Mihai. Thank you, Mihai.
I've got another. The next question is: how do you intend to segregate pedestrian traffic on site from the heavy vehicle traffic that you're going to have with the, and that's going to come with the demolition of the building?
That's that I could answer you this question is following the signage on site, and we're going to have pedestrian crowd control barriers fitted at the end of the route, surrounding the route.
I'll have a question. I think you said you've got 6 fire extinguisher points across the site. What type of fire extinguishers are on them points?
So foam, we've got powdered CO2 and water.
Thank you.
You know what color they are?
They're all red.
They're all red.
I've got
Yeah,
a
they're
question.
red. Red with blue, red with black,
Cool.
or red with white writing.
Do you have any measures in place if protected species are found in the hedges, which will prevent the removal of them?
That's a question for Marta. She's our environmental representative. But definitely we follow the Environmental Agency Act. So we're going to follow to the law. If anything is found, will be reported immediately, will be secured, and we're going to seek assistance from Environmental Agency.
You mentioned you've got an agreed policy in place for the muster point being in a car park that's not under your control. So it's a 2-part question. Firstly, are the 2 buildings linked with the same fire alarm system?
No, they're not. We got a temporary sign alarm in place.
So
And,
with that in mind, how do you control the traffic in a car park which is not part of your building, especially in a current, which could be an emergency situation?
We just said that on the start, and Gulab could give any further information, but we do have five fire marshals. 2 of them are seated in the outside car park at all the time to divert the pedestrians and keep the vehicle flow.
So in a case of an emergency, somebody can't leave that car park who is working in the opposite office.
In the case of emergency is the first rule, so emergency route will be kept clear at all the time. There's no if or but.
Do you have any adequate provisions for dust control?
Just said on the start, we do have debris netting. We're going to keep the excavation wetted down. We do have debris netting, and apart from that, we have the noise controls on the harvest fence, on the perimeter fence. Sorry.
Okay, if you've got if you're going to dampen the dust, how will you handle the excess contaminated water that will be produced on site?
is quite easy because that soil is already contaminated. That will be picked up from site by the approved contractor and drop it to the recycle facility, decontamination unit.
I've got one more question, if that's all right.
Do you have question for somebody else apart from me?
For all the
I
team.
might have missed it during the course of it, but what's the method for demolition of the building?
What is the method of demolition?
Yeah, but how are you planning to demolish the building? How are you going to do it? What method?
From top down, using machinery.
Pumping down.
There's
We're
gonna
going to
be
use machineries for
We only
demolition.
use C4. Put some C4 on it and blow it up.
Will be machineries with long reach, with a claw. And,
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, following up on that question, I've got a question for Marta. In the top left-hand side corner, you have a standing stone monument, which is of high importance around our community. How do you intend in mitigating vibration that could damage the site during your demolition process? And second of all, how are you intending on getting that kind of segregated so that it doesn't interfere with the site?
It's outside of our perimeter, so it doesn't.
It's quite far away. It doesn't affect any vibration over there.
Have you undertaken a seismic test on that?
Seismic.
Seismic, yes.
it's something we didn't think about it, but now having the question, we're definitely going to have some vibration sensor fitted up on the clock's proximity of it.
I think you've done
That's
really
good.
well in answering the questions, to be
Yes,
fair.
yes.
I
yeah,
think
that's
so.
very
Let's
good.
put them out the
That's very
misery.
good,
Come on.
yeah.
Let's give them a round of
That was
applause.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So what
Hey,
another
well
one?
done. Hey, some
What
great
they would
questions.